I know it's gross peeing on camera like this, but you're watching it, so you have to take your fair share of blame in this awkwardly established relationship of ours. I can make it grosser, though. There's not a toilet in this room. Oh, grosser? All right. Bottoms up. So what am I reviewing in this wonderful video here? Flushboy. Oh, God. Shit. Flushboy by Stephen Graham Jones. It's a story of teenage angst clashing with familial obligations set amid the context of a drive-thru urinal. That's right. It's one of the many entrepreneurial endeavors of the father figure of this household. All these exploits seem to have failed. This one doesn't seem very likely to escape that fate. This is the kind of story that I love, in which the initial draw is a crazy, weird quirk that's driving a family to insanity, really. A lot of my own writing is kind of like this, so I love it when authors do this, especially Stephen Graham Jones, who has a history of writing phenomenal work. As I was reading this, I was reminded of a fantastic short story by Adam Johnson called Trauma Plate from his story collection Emporium. You should definitely check it out. It's one of my favorite story collections of all time. It's perfect. Almost every single story is just absolutely perfect. That story is about a family who owns a bulletproof vest shop. They sell bulletproof vests. And it's mundane enough because that sort of thing is real, unlike, the drive-thru urinal. But you can imagine all of the weird family quirks that have to happen to this. What are the types of people that would actually have a bulletproof armor store? Likewise, what kind of family is it that would have a father figure who is obsessed with creating a drive-thru urinal? Why does it exist? What are the ramifications of it existing? How does it affect the family? How does it affect, most specifically, the main character and narrator of the story? He's a high school boy. That's got to be crazy, right? Who's trying to make it work with his girlfriend. There's crowds of people coming after high school football games. I believe they're football games, and so obviously there's a lot of teenage tension already inherent in the situation. Then you add all of these other outside factors to it, and it just makes it even crazier. It's a fantastic book, a very short read. I highly recommend you read it. It even touches on a few elements of, I don't want to say brilliance, because that's not the right word. The book is brilliant, but these elements that I'm going to discuss aren't necessarily elements of brilliance, because I don't know how seriously to take them. But there are a couple aspects in which Jones tries to weave in some social commentary, or his characters, better said, try to weave in some social commentary into the idea of a stand-up urinal. One particular instance, which I think is fantastic, the health inspector comes and visits the place, as you would assume a health inspector probably should visit a place like this, and discusses the idea that urination, standing to urinate, is actually a something that establishes and reaffirms social norms. He traces it all the way back to evolution, right? Men stand up to pee. They start peeing standing up. The idea of having to aim something somehow translates into them also being great hunters, aiming the bows, aiming their staffs or their spears or whatever it might be. And the idea of women sitting to pee reestablishes them as sort of the caretaker, the sitting down, the nurturing, the nest builders, so to speak. And the health inspector is concerned that this drive-thru urinal is abolishing those social norms, right? Because everyone's having to sit down to pee at this point, because you sit in your car and you pee into a little jug, and that's that. So that idea, while I think it's a stretch, but it makes absolute sense in the context of the book. It's wonderful to think about. It's really cool to sort of understand how something so menial might have such a large impact. Very, very cool stuff. So I definitely recommend you pick up Flushboy. And you know what? While you're at it, pick up all of Stephen Graham Jones' work. It's all really, really good. You know what? I'll give you a quick rundown. Just 1 second. You see these? These aren't even all of his books. And you know what? He has plenty more at home, just waiting to be published. I swear. It's weird. This guy is so freaking prolific. You read interviews of him, and he routinely spouts off responses to, hey, what's next? What other books do you have that you're writing? His answers are usually along the lines of, well, I think I've got a novel finished. I kept it in an empty Lucky Charms box. I'll probably get that someday, but first I'm probably gonna finish. I wrote this novel last night on a napkin, And I think I still have the napkin. I might have used it to wipe off my mouth after eating Lucky Charms, which I, probably ate the book I was writing. That's okay. I'll poop it out, and then I'll just keep the poop around until I decide to polish it, polish that turd, literally. He's got great books. Zombie Bake Off is fantastic. Ones That Got Away, fantastic short story collection. The Long Trial of Nolan Dugatti. He wrote this seriously in a weekend. He wrote it in a weekend. And he had time to write an entire blog about the fact that he was writing this on the weekend. He's insane. He's insane. Go to his website and read all about how he created this book. It's fantastic. Leadfeather, possibly my favorite Stephen Graham Jones book that I've read. I actually have a couple more that I haven't read sitting on my shelf right over there that I've heard are even better. But this is probably my favorite. Very, very good book. Let's throw that one in there. It came from Del Rio. Very cool. Very cool. Growing Up Dead in Texas. You know what? There's plenty of them. I'm not going to go through them all. Well, I'm just going to do this. How's that? How's that? How's that? Way too many books, Mr. Jones. Write more, please. So was I really drinking urine at the beginning of this video? No, not at the beginning of this video. It was 19th Anniversary Ale from Great Divide. Honestly, one of my favorite beers ever. And that's strange because usually I like a dark beer. But this is phenomenal. Unfortunately, it was limited. I stocked up. I have about 7 bottles left. I'm cherishing it. What am I reading right now? Right now I'm reading Childhood, a biography of place as part of this collected works of Harry Crews. My first time reading Harry Crews, and I really, really like him. So I'm upset that it took me so long to get to him, but I'm also quite happy that he has such a huge catalog of books. So it's like discovering something brand new that is going to go on for quite some time, I assume. But I might take a break from that pretty soon so that I can get started on, not for nothing, an advanced copy of a Stephen Graham Jones novel. I'm really looking forward to this one. You should too, maybe. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. Could suck, probably. Maybe not. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. It came from my pee hole. Now goes back to my gut. That doesn't really rhyme, but hey, I just made it up. Alright, cut me some slack. Also, I'm drinking urine. That can't be good for the brain.